We can now go live to Israel-Lebanon border to speak to Lieutenant Colonel Sarit Zehavi, former IDF intelligence officer and president of Alma Center. Lieutenant Colonel, thank you so much for your time with me today. Israeli forces have carried out their deepest advance into Lebanon in more than 25 years. Iran says its negotiating team is pausing diplomatic channels with the US over Israel's actions. Can Trump step in and stop or pressure Netanyahu?
Thank you for having me. First, I just want to describe the situation from northern Israel, where I'm based. I am 9 kilometers from the Lebanese border, and I'm speaking to you from my bomb shelter at home because I was afraid there will be the sirens out and I didn't want to cut the interview in the middle. My daughter is not going to school in the past few days, and there are sirens all the time with rockets that are launched to our cities, drones and FPVs that are crossing the border all the time, few times an hour, all across northern Israel, and there is no regular life here. This situation is during a period that's supposed to be a ceasefire, and a big amount of this munition is being launched from south of the Litani River, an area that the Lebanese government declared a few months ago that is empty of any illegal presence of Hezbollah. As you can understand, this is not the situation, and this is how we ended up in Netanyahu ordering the IDF to carry out strikes against Hezbollah in the Dahia. By the way, it's not Israel claiming that Hezbollah beating heart is in the southern suburb of Beirut. Everybody in Lebanon knows that. It's not a secret. Nobody is hiding that. This is the situation. It is what it is.
So I just wanted to reiterate my question to you, because Iran says its negotiation team is pausing diplomatic channels with the US over Israel's actions in Lebanon. So do you think that is fair that Iran do that? Do you think President Donald Trump wants to get a deal with Iran and now Benjamin Netanyahu is scuppering those chances?
I think that this was the plan of Tehran from the beginning, and actually I wrote about it a week ago when we saw Hezbollah starting to escalate the attacks against Israel more and more, crossing the border into Israel and targeting deliberately Israeli civilians. And I understood that it is all coming from Iran because the Islamic Republic understood that Trump is insisting on a specific deal, and Iran and the Islamic Republic is against this specific deal, and they want to have a completely different deal. And there is no way that these two positions can meet. And what they wanted to see is escalation on the Lebanese front, and that way to blame Israel for everything that will happen in the Middle East. But actually, we are facing an evil ideology that doesn't care massacring its own people, as you saw last January, and using the Lebanese now as hostages to gain achievement in the nuclear issue. And the mistake was that we enabled it, that we enabled the linkage between what is happening in Lebanon and what is happening in Iran. And what we have to do is to disconnect between the two campaigns. Clearly, the Iranians are the one who are giving the orders to Hezbollah.
And are Israel's current operations in Lebanon mainly tactical pressure on Hezbollah, given that the military group remains active and attacks on northern Israel are continuing? Because these are things Benjamin Netanyahu said he was going to stop, and he hasn't.
Look, here I will be very honest, and I want to say military operation of Israel is not going to solve Lebanon's problems. The Lebanese people, and I hope some of them are listening to us, should fight for their country. And the enemy is not the state of Israel, neither the Israelis. The enemy is Hezbollah that wants to take over Lebanon, and that's the declared goal of Hezbollah. We cannot do it by ourselves. We will do whatever it takes to defend ourselves, and our attacks against Hezbollah definitely serves the interest of the Lebanese government as well. But here what we have to see is a mobilization of the Lebanese government against Hezbollah and international community against Hezbollah. And the fact that the Europeans, for instance, and even the Arabs didn't join President Trump in Israel in his campaign against this evil ideology of the Islamic Republic and Hezbollah brought us to the situation that we are today. the more freedom of operation we will have against Hezbollah in Lebanon, and more countries that will join the campaign against Iran, the shorter this war will be.
European countries are hesitant to do so. 3,500 people have been killed by Israel in Lebanon since this ground offensive started against Hezbollah.
No,
it has done. And the French
government... This number are terrorists, okay? It was proven.
And majority is also children. So it's not just terrorists, also children have been, not a majority, but there has been a number of children killed. 3,500 people, that's according to the statistics we have from the Lebanese Health Ministry at the moment, and that is where the accuracy is.
The Ministry is not deferring civilians from military operatives of Hezbollah.
Same argument that I was given over Hamas and the death toll in Gaza, but we'll move on from that. From an outside perspective, this conflict appears to be splitting in two at the moment. If we have a look at it, I don't know if you agree with me. We're seeing the front in Iran and, of course, the front in Lebanon. Is this a deliberate move by Israel to provoke Lebanon so that they can actually finish the job, as Benjamin Netanyahu said more than once?
I think you should address this question to my 12-year-old daughter that is not going to school in the past few days. What provoke? How can you say that? Hezbollah opened war against Israel 3 times in the past 20 years, refused to disarm, building its plan to slaughter us over here in the north. And eventually you are saying that we are making the provocation? I truly don't understand. And one more word about the civilians that were killed in Lebanon. Everybody knows in Lebanon the true reason they were killed. And the true reason is that Hezbollah is using them as human shield. IDF provided tons of proofs to that, to the weapons that were found under cemeteries, churches, mosques, kitchens and bedrooms, tunnel shafts in the bedrooms. That's why they are getting killed. We don't want to kill them. We call them to evacuate, including today, to evacuate from the southern suburb of Beirut. If we wanted to kill them, we wouldn't call them to evacuate, as we are obliged to do by international law. So please, first let's put the information, straight, and not just provoke, saying Israel is making provocation here. We want peace. This is what we want. We are welcome the Lebanese to have peace with us. I myself, my origins are from Beirut. My grandmother was born in Beirut, and I wish I could visit Beirut as a tourist and to meet my sisters and brothers in Lebanon and to have peace with them rather than fighting them for 3 generations now.
And is this push from Israel into Lebanon, we're seeing it at the moment, so there is an advance happening, and I'm sure that you can admit to that too. Who is it meant to hurt the most? Is it Iran, or is it the US chances of dealing with Iran? Like, what is Israel's end game here right now? Because eradicating Hezbollah, if we look at history, it's not going to happen.
Why? Well, look, IDF had very good achievements militarily. The capability of Hezbollah to launch an invasion of thousands of military or terrorists into Israel, like Hamas had done, this was Hezbollah's plan in 2023, and they were fully prepared. I saw the military operatives on the borderline every day when I was there before the war in 2023, and they are not there anymore, and they are not capable of doing that anymore. IDF succeeded in pushing them away from the fence, meaning that they cannot launch any more anti-tank missiles into our homes, as they did during 2023 and 2024, without Israel provoking, by the way. So yes, we can have some achievements, but as I've said, it's not going to completely solve the problem, but we have to defend ourselves. And the mission of the IDF today is to degrade as much as possible, strategically weaken Hezbollah, and that way maybe the Lebanese government will have the courage finally to act against it and to disarm it.
Lieutenant Colonel Sarit Zehavi, always good to have you on. Thank you for your analysis and time with me.
Thank you.